Ishmael, the forgotten son according to Genesis chapter 16 verse 3, was Abraham's first child with the Egyptian Hagar. The name Ishmael carries various meanings, including, God will hear, God hears, and God heard. Ishmael's birth predated God's promise to Abram of numerous descendants, as stated in Genesis chapter 12 verse 2, where God promised to make Abram a great nation and bless him abundantly. Prior to Ishmael's birth, Abram and Sarai had no children through Sarai. In an attempt to fulfill God's promise, Sarai proposed that Abram have a child through her Egyptian maid, Hagar. Despite spending time in Africa and receiving Hagar as part of his possessions, Abram's agreement with Sarai led to the birth of Ishmael. However, this decision was not aligned with God's plan for marriage, causing complications and challenges in the family. As the years passed, Sarah faced the anguish of unfulfilled hopes, unanswered prayers, and the disgrace of public perception. The conflict between Sarai and Hagar intensified, leading to the birth of Ishmael and his subsequent position as Abram's son. However, Ishmael's birth did not align with God's ultimate plan. In Genesis chapter 17, God reaffirmed the promise of descendants through Sarai, renaming her Sarah. Despite Abraham's initial disbelief and laughter, God assured him that Sarah would bear a son named Isaac. Ishmael, born of Hagar, was not the chosen heir of the covenant, but God promised to bless him and make him a great nation. The conflict between Sarah and Hagar escalated, prompting Abraham to send Hagar and Ishmael away. God reassured Abraham that Ishmael would be blessed and protected, and indeed, God provided water for them in the wilderness. Ishmael grew and became a skilled archer, and God fulfilled his promise to make him a great nation. Abraham passed away, and Isaac and Ishmael, despite the differences, buried their father. The descendants of Ishmael, mentioned in Genesis chapter 25, formed 12 tribes and settled in the east. Ishmael lived for 137 years, and although he was not the heir of the covenant, God's blessing was evident in his life and the lives of his descendants, the Ishmaelites. The legacy of Ishmael continued through his descendants, the Ishmaelites, who played a significant role in biblical narratives. Throughout various events, such as Joseph being sold to traders by his brothers, the Ishmaelites were mentioned as active participants in the unfolding story. As time passed, the Ishmaelites became known for their trade and interaction with different nations. Their influence extended from Havilah to Shur, east of Egypt, toward Assyria. The prominence of the Ishmaelites in trade and commerce is notably seen in their involvement in Joseph's journey to Egypt. The Ishmaelites' role in biblical history underscores God's ability to work through diverse circumstances and individuals, even those who were not direct recipients of the covenant. While Isaac became the chosen heir and the lineage through which the covenant continued, God did not abandon Ishmael and his descendants. The story of Ishmael reflects God's faithfulness and grace, acknowledging that his plans extend beyond the limitations of human understanding. Despite the complexities and challenges arising from human decisions, God remained involved in the lives of both Isaac and Ishmael, guiding their paths and ensuring the fulfillment of his purposes. The Ishmaelites, as descendants of Ishmael, became part of the broader narrative of God's redemptive plan for humanity. The inclusion of Ishmael's lineage in biblical accounts serves as a testament to God's mercy and the intricate ways in which he weaves together the threads of human history to accomplish his divine will. As we reflect on the story of Ishmael, we find a reminder that God's blessings and purposes are not confined to specific individuals or circumstances. His sovereign plan unfolds through diverse paths, demonstrating his boundless love and the universality of his redemptive work in the world. The descendants of Ishmael, known as the Ishmaelites, continued to play a role in biblical history, particularly during the time of Moses and the Exodus. In Numbers 31, the Ishmaelites are mentioned in the context of the Israelites' battles, showcasing their presence and influence in the region. As the generations unfolded, the Ishmaelites became part of the broader tapestry of Middle Eastern history. Their nomadic lifestyle and involvement in trade routes contributed to the cultural and economic landscape of the ancient world. The diversity and complexity of their interactions with neighboring nations added layers to the unfolding narrative of God's plan. The Ishmaelites' connection to the broader Arab world is also noteworthy. The Arab peoples trace their lineage back to Ishmael, and Islam recognizes him as a prophet. This connection underscores the profound impact Ishmael and his descendants had on shaping the cultural and religious landscape of the Middle East. The story of Ishmael teaches us about God's inclusive and redemptive plan for all people, irrespective of their status as direct recipients of the covenant. It challenges our understanding of God's sovereignty and his ability to work through various individuals and nations to bring about his purposes. The descendants of Ishmael, like all peoples, were part of God's broader plan of salvation. Their presence in biblical narratives serves as a reminder that God's love extends to all, and his redemptive work encompasses diverse nations and cultures. In summary, the story of Ishmael and his descendants, the Ishmaelites, highlights God's faithfulness, sovereignty, and inclusive plan for humanity. Their role in biblical narratives and subsequent historical events emphasizes the intricate ways in which God weaves together the threads of human history to fulfill his divine purposes.